Welcome inside the Rowdy Studios. My name is Bassmaster, sitting with Buzz Cutler, talking about secret fines and lawsuits and punches between Ryan Newman and Juan Pablo Montoya. Buzz Cutler, what's going on?
Well, we should say that at this point, nobody has actually admitted anything. Not Juan Pablo Montoya, Ryan Newman,
or
not NASCAR. So all of this is alleged, but there's been a lot of sort of talk between the lines. Let's first listen to what Ryan Newman said, where he sort of admits to it without admitting to anything.
Admitted that at Darlington, when those two guys met in the NASCAR Hall, that he may have thrown a punch.
But he doesn't really admit it.
He does not admit it.
He just kind of admits it.
Yeah, listen.
Back in the day, if you had a problem with somebody, you walked out to the front of their trailer or McDonald's parking lot or wherever it was and had a little, conversation. Things got better. Now we can't do that. There's so many cameras around, and we're representing sponsors, and we're representing families and all that stuff. So there's different ways of dealing with that. That's why everybody asks, what does boys have at it mean? We don't all know. There's no real answer.
Was there any having at it in the NASCAR transporter like was reported?
What's that mean?
No one has confirmed.
I'm an engineer. I don't understand English real
There
well.
has never been a confirmation or a denial, from what I understand, that you punched Juan
Some things
Pablo.
are better just left unsaid.
So let's just say that he may have taken a swing at Juan
For the
Pablo.
sake of argument.
Now's where it gets murky, though.
Right.
Because the latest story came from Jim Noble, a reporter for PRN. I think he does some stuff for ESPN. And I think everything, it seems to me, has fed off this one story that I can tell so far. And that is that not only did Ryan, in fact, punch Juan Pablo, but the NASCAR fined Ryan Newman $50,000 for that in secret, which we know they've done in the past, or we're fairly certain they've done in the past.
Well, we know.
We know they did last year to Ryan and Denny Hamlin last year.
Yeah.
And here's the other wrinkle, that perhaps the genesis of the fine was a threatened lawsuit by Juan Pablo against Ryan Newman. Okay, so the story, if all these things are true, and again, it's alleged, but it's being reported, we need to talk about it. If all these things are true, the scenario is they go into the hauler at Darlington. Newman takes a swing at Montoya. Montoya feels like NASCAR's not going to do anything, and he says, if you all aren't going to do something, I will. And they say, no, we're actually going to fine him, and they fine Ryan Newman $50,000 in secret.
Right.
What are we to make of all this?
Well, first of all, I have a huge issue with the whole secret fine practice that NASCAR seems to have been practicing for the past 2 seasons.
It's a practice they've been practicing.
Yeah, and we know of 3. Well, we know of 2 instances. This might be a third. Maybe there are more because they're secret. NASCAR, this is just wrong-headed. This is the wrong tack to take. If you're being advised to do this so that you don't blacken the eye of the sport, you're actually doing the sport a greater disservice by keeping these things private.
I think practically speaking, of course, you'd have to know what the ratio is of secret fines levied to secret fines revealed, because we only know about the ones we know about.
Right.
So if they've levied 100 secret fines and we've found out about 3 or heard about 3, then they're actually doing a pretty good job of keeping it secret.
Remember what the secret fines were for last season? They were for voicing opinion. That's just wrong, NASCAR.
Well, let's not get into that, okay? Because
it's wrong.
Other sports will fine you for questioning officials. So, but let's not get into that right now.
But it wasn't about questioning officials.
Yes, it was. In Denny Hamlin's case,
but
it
not in Ryan
absolutely
Newman's.
was. Let's talk about this situation. First of all, was Ryan Newman secretly fined? He had this to say at Pocono about that.
I've always said that private things happen privately, and what happens in the trailer stays in the trailer, and there's a reason we have private meetings, and there's a reason that NASCAR does things the way they do.
Now, here's my question to you.
Yeah.
NASCAR, if this is true, seems like they're in a very tough spot, because if they want to let these guys express frustration, if they want to let it get physical, i.e. boys have at it. We saw it on the track in broad daylight last year with Jeff Gordon and Jeff Burton at Texas. If they want to let guys settle things the old-fashioned way, but then they have a guy who says, well, I wasn't coming in here to fight. I was coming in here to talk, and this guy took a swing at me, and I don't like it, and I want something done about it. And if he was willing to threaten a lawsuit, which, again, is simply alleged at this point, now they're in a tough spot. But I think the one mistake that they make is to keep it secret, because it's not practical, because it's going to come out anyway.
And I don't think they're in a tough spot. I think you can easily make a distinction between what happens on the racetrack or just after an incident happens on the racetrack, like Jeff Burton and Jeff Gordon. That was in the heat of the moment after an incident, and it was still on the racetrack. You can make a distinction between those types of occurrences and what Richard Childress did and what Ryan Newman allegedly did, which is considerably after the fact, premeditated, and not sort
well,
of
Ryan
in the
Newman's might not have been premeditated.
but
We
it
don't
wasn't
know how
in
heated
the
it got in
heat
there.
of the moment.
It was in the heat of some kind of moment.
But it wasn't in the competitive moment, and I think you can draw a distinction there.
You can draw a distinction there.
And I don't
you
think
can.
that, and I don't think it's inappropriate
But
to draw that distinction.
I agree it's not inappropriate, but I guarantee you, if immediately after it had happened, they'd come out and said, we were in the hauler, things got out of hand, and Newman took a swing at Montoya. Bear in mind, Montoya showed no marks, no bruises or anything from this that we could see.
Right.
Maybe it was under his Strabon suit. But, you know, if they'd come out and said that.
I think they should have.
If they'd done that, we're fining him $50,000 for taking a swing, I guarantee you there would have been outcry. What happened to boys have at it? Why aren't they letting these guys settle their own disputes? I guarantee you that would have happened.
I think if NASCAR had come out and they had said, this is what happened. This was not in the heat of the moment. This was not in the midst of competition.
And everyone has said they're splitting hairs. I guarantee you that's what it would have happened.
I don't think so. I mean, I don't think so. I think that's an appropriate distinction to draw. I think NASCAR should draw that distinction. But I also think NASCAR should be forthcoming both with the public and with the media.
Well, the problem with not drawing that distinction is if a guy comes in and threatens a lawsuit, now what do you do? And I think that's the question. I would love to know the answer. What really happened? Juan Pablo, Ryan Newman, or NASCAR? We got to crack one of these people. We got to figure out what really happened.
NASCAR is just so wrong-headed about this. The more information you give, the better off you are as a sport, NASCAR. Come on.
That's not always the case, but in most cases, I certainly do agree.
So stupid.
In this case, I agree more information would be better. That's our take on the subject. Lots to talk about. Hope you'll join us at Rowdy.com and do just that.
Rowdy.com. Say it like it is.
Say what like it is?
Rowdy.com.